Hello, people. Today I have with us a very special pair of kits. This is the, I guess it would be MS General. I know they're the same company that makes MS General. Anyways, this is Jian, the TKB01Y, and I think it's 01B. Each kit comes with one girl and one dog. The black, red, and gray and gold, and you get the white, green, and gold on that one. Very interesting color combinations. They are very proud of that gold. It is a plated / painted gold. It does appear very beautiful in person. I think it doesn't really show off very well on camera, but in my opinion, it's very nice. But I'm going to go ahead and show you what these kits have and contain, and we will go ahead and go from there. We'll start with the white set. So while both kits actually contain the same thing, obviously the colors are different. You're going to get the girl with the green hairstyle and accessories. She does have some extras in the box, including parts like extra face prints, so you get this face as well. And this one here. And in addition to that, you get two blank face plates, which are exactly the same, and they do include decals, which I didn't. No, I'm pretty sure I have them out here. You also get this hairstyle, which I think is in use with the combination, which I haven't tried yet. I will probably get to that one later. There are also a pair of holding hands so that she can grab onto that spear a little bit more comfortably. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with a lot of hands, but I think this is supposed to be a budget line that they launched. And so you get a pair of holding hands like this that just have an O shape, which is not too bad. There's a lot of unnecessary designs that aren't included. Not that they aren't nice to have, but it would have been nice to have a closed fist or things like that. In any case, you also get this really cool weapon, a very long spear, which is many, many pieces put together. It is impressive how many pieces went into this. A very simplistically designed girl. I think she's a lot easier to put together than other kits, even with all the detail that's put on her. And then you get this little dinosaur mecha wolf, which they describe him as a dog, so he is a dog. You also get a stand, which has their emblem printed on, or actually sculpted onto this clear piece here. It is a very nice, simple stand. I'll show you some of its features later. Here are the decals that they include. So you get a few face options that you can use to make your person unique to you. Lots of different decal options there. And then these are for the dog mainly, and then these are for the girl, if I recall correctly. Inside the book, it is not full color, but it does include one of these books for each of the girls. So you get a comic of her defeating this monster. It is in Chinese, and the machine translation is awful, so I won't try to struggle with that. But that is at the beginning and at the very end of the instruction booklet. So I'm going to show you that last page right here. And it is the same for both kits. So I won't bother you with another show of what that includes. But you can see the designs are quite nice. One of the things that MS General does that I like is when you look at one of these parts, so like if you need this section, which is the body unit for the dog, it tells you which sprues to use. So grab your A, B, D, F, G, and H parts, and you'll be on your way to build that dog. It does narrow things down a bit, but to be honest, it is a little excessive on how many sprues you need to build one section of the thing. The sprues only went to like H if I recall correctly, maybe up to K. So you didn't narrow, maybe up to J. So you didn't really narrow things down when you list A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, all the way to the end. But she was a very simple, very fast girl to put together, which is actually exciting. I hope they continue this line because I haven't seen any more from it. I just saw these when they came out. They're like, oh, here's 2 new kits that we're coming out with. And everyone's like, well, they're exactly the same, which I'm okay with that. I think, just put out the same kit twice with different colors. It's not bad. And they are rather cheap too. I got them so I went and did something different, and I bought them directly from China, from the manufacturer's site, in fact. And I had them proxy bought for me and sent to my home. The boxes came destroyed. So I was very upset about that. The proxy shipper charged me an extra $100 to send them after they sent them from their warehouse. And I haven't paid that yet because the boxes were destroyed. I'm still in the middle of arguing that I shouldn't have to pay that if my boxes were destroyed. Or at the very least, compensate me the kits, and I'll give you your $100 back. Whatever the heck goes on in their minds, I don't like it. So I'm going to be not doing third-party buys like that anymore. Any case, back to the kit. I wanted to show you the articulation. It is a simple kit compared to some of the girls. There is a ball joint in the head, but that ball joint is actually on a hinge that's inside that head. So you can get quite a lot of motion from that ball joint. You see, I took that one off here. You can turn that head just a bit because it is on the ball, but backwards and forwards, you get quite a lot. But that said, it is a little unusual that you didn't get an angle inside here. In a way, I think that makes it stronger, so I'm okay with that. And it doesn't look like it's diminished in any way. The only thing is I think her neck looks a little long because of that. So it's just a ball on one of those sockets that is on a hinge. It's not a PC part. It is a hard plastic part, so I do expect that to wear out eventually. Let's move down to her arm. Her arm is on a ball and socket, but it is opposite to what you think it is. The ball is actually on the body side. The socket is on the female shoulder. And then this clips onto that, so you do actually have some articulation there. You can see the inside of the ball right there. This rotates here, so you can turn that any angle you need her arm to go. And then there's an interesting joint here. So this is a simple hinge joint. Went together very easily. But then this clips on over it to, 1, protect that joint, and 2, to provide you a 3mm port right here. The wrist pins are the standard wrist pins that most of the girl kits use. So a ball made from 2 half sections. So you can get any angle that you need out of that, and then you get that nice swivel. They do plug in very well, and they do stay in rather sturdily. These are very soft rubber parts. For the hands, it's very similar to this piece here, which is the same type of material. So if there are any mold lines on yours, pray to God that there aren't, because it will show up if you try to clean them. You can see where I cut that off of the sprue here. It's pretty obvious. Rubber, it makes a nice material for hair, but it doesn't make the best cleanup. This one here is the same material. You can see where I cut it right here. Same thing. That nub mark is going to be awful, and it's going to be very difficult to clean that off. So that's the articulation there, and there's your tip there for that rubber. Inside here is the ball, obviously. That one goes into the top here. This very sturdy section plugs into the top of her torso, which is all snapped together. So all of this, there's no articulation here. You're not going to get a crunch out of it like you do from the Megami device, but that does give you a sturdier figure. So she is nice and heavy right here. I do really appreciate that. At the back, these are articulated, and they are articulated in many ways. So there's a ball that goes into the socket here, so you can move them out of the way onto the side. This is on a flap, so you get a hinge that goes on top of this underwear piece, and that clips into the back. So that's all one solid, sturdy piece that is clipped together inside. Very, very sturdy. The legs are interesting. You get the ball and socket similar to most of the other ones. You can see here where the mold lines were. This is all one piece, and there's another piece that slides inside here to provide you that articulation. It does articulate quite well, but because this is so sturdy, you will see this pop off before anything else does. That said, she does have quite a lot of range, even with that issue. So you can get her to move her leg almost any way you want. At the top here, that does rotate. It does look a little off because the armor is just slightly larger than the size of her thigh. So turning it like that, you'll see a little bit of that meat there, and you'll see a little bit of the top of the armor. But that said, you want to turn it just a little bit, that works. On the knee, it is a very similar to what most of the model kit girls do. So you get a 4-piece knee. So you get one that pegs into here, which locks into that two-piece section that squishes together, sandwiches together into another peg that goes into the bottom. So, like so. But then that one is also protected by this gold piece, which slides over and covers the front of this one. And I think that's a really nice look for an armor piece there on the knee. I really like the way that works. But that does afford you quite a lot of articulation, similar to Megami and Frame Arm Girl kits. So you can get a lot out of that knee section. The bottom is similar to the wrist joint, where you have the ball made of 2 halves with pegs on either end. So you can get quite a lot of motion out of her feet. That does rotate all the way, but they are very simple feet, just 2 parts put together. I actually appreciate that, though. They look good without being overly complicated. No hinge at the toe, but, it doesn't look bad. So that is Jian. Forgive my pronunciation. I am not well versed in Chinese pronunciation. All right, but that is her. Moving on to the dog. The head moves in such a way that you can open the mouth. That looks a little ridiculous right there. But it is nice and articulated on a hinge section at the top, which pegs into a hinge section or a pin section at the back. So you got the pin and port. Basically, you can turn them as much as the armor pieces will allow, and you can move them up and down at any of those angles. It's pretty nice for what it is. Here you have these hinges. These actually open up, and they are put into a ball and socket here because they are meant to combine with the girl kit. This is actually articulated just a bit, but it isn't very functional on the dog, so I think that has something to do with the transformation. Haven't tried it out yet. This piece here is also articulated, but because this armor is sitting on top of it, it will not move. And then you have the tail, which is several of those double ball sections, and those move up and down quite a lot, and you can move them side to side just a bit, mostly because of the ball joint at the back here. This section actually slides out quite a bit, so you can get a longer tail or a shorter one. It is also a weapon for the girl to use. Then we'll move to the front leg. Front leg is on one of these massive ball joint sections, so that moves ball and socket wise inside this all the way 360 degrees. That can move up and down as well. You can also turn it outward or inward quite a bit, but the armor does block that somewhat. Then you have a hinge here, which just moves. Here, let's get that out the way. quite a lot at that section. And then each of these toes is articulated. So you got nice claws to do as you want to. On these white sections are articulated as well. So you get those in a peg. They do rotate. And they do rotate quite a bit as well. This section actually splits from the middle section. And this section actually splits from the middle section. But I'm not going to do that right now. I think that has to do with the transformation. So we're going to leave that be. Oh, the tail also has an up and down here. So you can move that quite a lot as well. I forgot about that one. But you can see on the back, it looks a little awful if you do that. Obviously, that has to do with the transformation or the combination as well. Rear leg is one of those massive 2-piece sections, but in this case it's 3 pieces. You can rotate that any which way you want inside here, and on the body here there is quite a lot of room for that rotation. There is rotation here as well on that peg. This one can move as well, but with this armor section in the way, it doesn't really like to. But to cover up any of the gaps in the armor, it is able to be moved. These 2 little fins move, and each of the 3 toes move. But you do have a joint here between those 2 sections to make that work. So you can have them standing up taller or squatting down properly on all 4s. So yeah, that's the wolf. And it is exactly the same with each of these guys. They are the same kit. So there isn't any difference between these 2. As far as I saw, they use exactly the same parts to get that done. They just use different color sprues. So all the white parts on this are gray on this one. All the gray parts are red. And all the gold ones look like they're the same, with the exception of these little finials, which are replaced with gold on this one. I actually think this one has a lot better of a look. All right, let me go ahead and show you the stand before I move on to a size comparison. So the stand works with little tiny grooves, and those lock into place by pushing that in. And those are pushed out by making this disc section push in, and that pulls that guy right out. If you pull that all the way out, though, that disc section will fall out. You got to make sure you don't lose that. Also, you have to remember if it is pushed in or not, because if you don't, these can easily break off inside there and you will lose the function of this arm. So make sure whether or not you are pushed in or taken out before you move that stand. It does have many different ranges, so you can move that as you will to plug into the back of your girl or into the dog to make that pose. Now I'm going to go ahead and do some size comparison. Starting out with our high-grade Gundam. You can see that he's a little bit smaller than she is. In fact, head and shoulders smaller than she is. Of course, Alto's going to be quite a lot shorter. His head only comes up to her navel. You can't talk girl kits without bringing in frame arms, Kotobukiya, of course. So even Jinrai here is shorter than she is. Staying with Kotobukiya, here is Architect, just a tad shorter than she is. Frame Arms Girl is a bit taller than Megami Device, so you can see the Megami Device is right a little bit below her shoulder on the face, but still a tad taller than the Gundam. Coming out with our little guy, Hexagear Governor, barely over her knee, right into her thigh mark. And then the king of my size comparisons, here is the Alex Gundam, which is still quite a lot taller than she is. So master grade, gonna dwarf that girl. And then this is a Mecha Musume model kit, so of course I'm going to do a couple more comparisons. Here's Rashetta from the 30 Minute Sisters line. You see she's a tad shorter. Similar to the size of that Megami device. And because this is the same company, I wanted to show off how large my Huangzhang is. This is from MS General line. Man, she's a big girl. Alright, and because I think this video has gone on long enough, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. I will do a comparison with the two in their armored modes, with the dog and girl combined. But for now, I think I will say thank you for watching. I appreciate you very much. I will see you guys next time, or you'll see me, but more than likely, you will see my stuff. Bye-bye.